We are at Imola for round 3 of the 2008 FF1M season. Here is the track, and last season saw Lewis Hamilton take his first ever FF1M win since the Masters days when he was driving for Maestro Motorsport. The previous race then, the 2006, was also won by a Yorkshire team, FJR. And Q1 saw Shannon dominate the session, its two drivers, 1 and 2, ahead of Vettel, Alonso, Suttle and Rosberg. The same 4 teams were once again knocked out. And now over to Q2. Taking place at a sunny Imola. Here's Sebastian Buemi about to go on his lap. Let's ride with him as we take you through the 4.8 kilometre circuit. This is turn 1, 2 and 3, the Tamburello chicane. Approaching the first intermediate point as we go through the Villeneuve chicane. It's a quick left-right before braking into the Tosa hairpin. And Mitchell not having the start of the season they've wanted so far, but they have made it into every race so far, which was unlike last season. And so they'll be hoping for better results. Buemi goes through the second sector point, and this is the corner that catches everybody out. Overtaking seems to happen there, and more often than not they collide. Going to top speed into Ravazza, the double 90-degree left-hander. Second apex a bit more open than the first one. Now the lap's almost complete. He's braking for the final chicane, which is a slow left-right. And Buemi does a 1 minute. It's in the 20s. It's a 21.4. And Genet beating that. And here is the man of the season so far, Jenson Button, dominating the first 2 races. What can this lap do? 8/10 quicker than Genet. But Senna just goes 3/4 of a second quicker than him. That is a fantastic lap from Bruno Senna. So far he's outpaced his similarly rookie teammate Pastor Maldonado. So a good start to the season from Senna. 2 4th places in a row for him in the first 2 races. Everybody's setting times fast now. That was Kimi Räikkönen. Nico Rosberg only goes 10th. Alonso seemed to outpace him in pre-qualifying, so we'll see if that's an omen into this actual qualifying session as we look at the Australian Mark Webber. Before this race there was a test session at the Okayama circuit in Japan, and it was a 3-day session. And the first day Hamilton for shake and bake was the quickest driver. The second day saw Guy Racing's test driver Felipe Massa top the timesheets, and then the third session the Tornado test driver Pedro de la Rosa topped that session. AJ didn't participate in any of those 3 tests, and the top 6 teams were only allowed 1 driver, so Tornado, Guy Racing, Shannon, Pedersen, FJR and X-Elite were only allowed 1 driver to test the car. During those 3 tests as well, Dark Wolf mastered the F duct, which gives them a straight line boost at the expense of loss of grip in the corners. But they've mastered it to a point where the grip loss is non-existent. Doesn't seem to have done Webber any good though, he's only gone 7th with that effort. Here is Fernando Alonso for FJR. Scored a good 2nd place in Malaysia after FJR switched to the harder tyres and adjusted their engine. Also during the 3 tests, Andy Racing mastered the development of the diffuser. They're now at maximum development. The FF2M season has also started. We've had the 2 races they feature in the sprint race already at Imola, and the first one was a chaotic affair because out of 22 starters, only 8 finished, and it was Mikhail Alishin for STV Racing, the junior FJR team, who took a pole to a lights to flag victory effectively, starting on pole and then winning. In the sprint race it was Danish racing team's Lucas de Grassi who won that race. I should also mention the FF1M Asia season's finished, and it was Kramer Racing, the junior Guy racing team, who won both championships, just ahead of Danish racing team. And SF1 Junior took an impressive 3rd place. Now let's see what Button's teammate Giorgio Pantino can do here. Goes 6th with that effort, so he's just a bit behind his teammate. Gine only goes 14th. Here is the current champion, Sebastian Vettel. Seems to have struggled a little bit with race pace, but that will probably be down to the soft tyres and the nature of them. Being quicker in qualifying but slower in the race. Vettel goes across the line, takes 2nd place. He's ahead of Jenson Button at the moment. Here's Lewis Hamilton on the lap. Again, not having the start to the season that he'd have wanted. That'll be down to Shake and Bake's unfamiliarity with the own engine and the fact that he's developing. Team boss Courtney Cass will be developing it as fiercely as possible to try and get it up to the level to compete with Mercedes. But Hamilton did a good lap there. He was up to 6th before being dropped down to 7th there by I can't remember, but here's Sebastian Bourdais on the lap. X-Elite's livery is unique as they've got the names of the drivers on the side. We've got Seb for Sebastian Bourdais and Ant for Anthony Davidson. Bourdais had a good run in the last race, making it in the points. He scored 6th place, I think it was. Here he's into Ravazza now. Coming out of Ravazza now. Let's see what he can do with this lap. He's 6/10 down at the moment on Bruno Senna. The impressive Bruno Senna. And Bourdais crossing the line. He goes 9th. He dropped another half a second or so in that last sector. Neil Yarni, his teammate right behind him. Yarni goes 17th, and look at this, there's some action between Coulthard and an Andy Racing. The Andy Racing peels off into the pits. And that'll have startled David a little bit. Goes 22nd. And here's Nico Rosberg on another effort. Let's see what he can do against Jenson Button. Only 17th, that's disappointing. Jenson Button, he's on the lap now and gone through the first sector 100th of a second quicker than Bruno Senna. Let's see what he can do as this lap unfolds. Past the Piratella, the very fast left-hander. Before the Aqua Minerale, very fast first apex before braking hard for the second one. Powering uphill. Second sector, he's up. He's 1.5 tenths up on Bruno Senna. Braking for this very difficult chicane. Just kissing the AstroTurf on the exit. It seems to be the line that these drivers are taking. Jenson Button on fire. Look at that, the more action there. Or was that a replay? Well, this must be a replay then of Jenson Button's lap, because we saw the action between the exact two same drivers. Button crossing the line. He's done it. He's done it. 1.5 tenths. He's maintained that gap as he went through the final sector. Now then, Nico Rosberg. He's showing an improvement on his lap times. He's 2 tenths up on his own. He's only good enough for 17th though. Rosberg's struggling. As it is Pastor Maldonado. Now here's Senna. Oh, it's going to be very close. I saw that it was just a 10th up on this second sector point. It's going to need a very good last sector to try and knock Jenson Button off the top. Rounding the final chicane. Can he do it? Bruno Senna for Shannon Racing crossing the line. No, he can't. He's just a 10th shy of pole position. Now we look at Rosberg's teammate, Fernando Alonso. Can he do anything about the front row? No, but he makes 4th place. Robert Kubica for Guy Racing. He's looking to beat Alonso, and he's done it. 3rd place. Now we go onto the starting grid. A good battle for pole position between Button and Senna, but it is the Brit who takes pole position for Tornado. And of course he does have the advantage of the harder tyres in the race. Senna 2nd, Kubica on the harder tyres 3rd, Vettel 4th, Alonso 5th, Pantano 6th, Lewis Hamilton showing improvements in 7th place, and the 2 Andy Racings as well, 8th and 9th. That's a good effort from them, and Bourdais completing the top 10. Raikkonen down in 12th, off the pace compared to his teammate. Genet up a few good positions in 13th. Rosberg down a lot. Trulli also not having a good qualifying session, being out-qualified by Buemi, and it's an all dodge and back row. Now he's done it in the previous 2 races, but can Jenson Button do it again? And I think is no. Senna's taken the lead, and Jenson could be under pressure from Robert Kubica behind, so Senna leads into the first chicane. There's some brake lock-ups, but I think they've all got through safely. Kimi Raikkonen down a position, he's battling with the Dark Wolf. But it is Senna leading, and that's crucial. He needs to stay ahead of Jenson Button and make this soft tyres count. As we look at the action further back, it's all been pretty. We've all maintained grid position in the top 8, but this is the acid test. We saw an instant last season. Are we going to see another one? Kubica's having a look at Jenson Button, but not quite making the move. Are we going to see any other incidents? No, it's all clean. I tell you what, I think that's a first. Everyone has got through the variante Alta unscathed. But Jenson Button's massively under pressure from Kubica up the inside into the final chicane. Well, that was nearly contact as well, but he's up into 2nd place. Now Jenson's under threat from Fernando Alonso behind. He's going right round the outside. He's done it! He didn't even need to make the braking zone to make that move stick. So Jenson dropping back. I wonder if he's got a heavier fuel load. Now here's Anthony Davidson, who has dropped a position from the grid, but look at that power of the X-Elite. Right into the Villeneuve chicane. He put that Mitchell in a very difficult position, and Glock making his way up the order. And I'll tell you what, Rosberg's had a poor start. He's dropped down nearly to right to the back of the field, and Coulthard has passed him as well. So Rosberg dropping even further back. He's under pressure from Pastor Maldonado now. Meanwhile, this is Vettel and Pantano at the inside, and there's contact. Vettel went up in the air then, but he's maintained the position. Now this is going to give Hamilton and Piquet a run at them, and look at this, look at how close it is. Christian Klein in 9th place, challenging Nelson Piquet Jr. Into Ravazza has outbraked him. Up into the points goes Klein. Marc Genet right at the back of Buemi, I think, into the Tamburello, understeering his way up a position. So Dark Wolf's looking in much better shape. And that's Anthony Davidson out of the race, and that is no driver error, that's a transmission failure. So it's another retirement for him now, and clean up the inside of Hamilton. There's more contact. Rather doggedly making his way up to 7th position. That's cost Hamilton. And there's still a big traffic jam behind. Pantano and Vettel into the Piratella, side by side. Now I quite often see drivers making moves stick round the outside of this next corner, and that's no different. Pantano makes up a position. He's up to 5th, ahead of the world champion. Can Vettel do anything about it? And off goes Hamilton. That is a reliability problem, that's no driver error. He stopped and it's another transmission. So that's 2 retirements in a row for Lewis Hamilton. After last season, that's not what he wanted. And Senna and Kubica challenging for the lead here into the Tamburello. Kubica takes the lead on lap 10. The harder tyres coming into effect now, and that is Genet out of the race. Pantano setting the fastest lap, so definitely the harder tyres are into contention. And Alonso challenging the Shannon driver of Senna into the Rivazza. So Senna dropping back a bit with these softs. But look at Jenson Button, he's still in this. He can very well get a podium come the end of the race. But Alonso's right in the slipstream now. FJR versus Shannon, but not into the Tamburello this time round. You just feel that he's going to get him sooner or later. He has to, because Kubica's pulling away. Trying into the Villeneuve chicane, and that's not going to work. Meanwhile, Klein is closing in on Sebastian Vettel, who's dropped back a lot from Pantano. He's 4 seconds behind the Italian. And you can just see Alonso has got more grip in the corners. The soft tyres have gone off. He's close behind here. He's going to try the risky one, I think, into the Variante Alta. Senna not defending. Alonso trying to outbrake him into the corner, but no, he's backed out of that sensibly. But now he's going to try again into the Rivazza. Senna defending very well, I have to say. In his first ever FF1M season, he's doing very well. He's driving with a calm, mature head. I wonder how much time Alonso's lost, and he's up the inside into the last chicane, and he's done it. Alonso up to second, crucially, because look at Jenson Button right behind. And that cost Alonso nearly 3 seconds to try and get past Senna on that lap. But Jenson Button's up the inside, not quite, into the Tamburello chicane. So lap 12, it's Kubica leading from Alonso. Senna, Button, Pantano and Vettel, Klein and Piquet are the top 8, and we have Rosberg challenging a Dodgem for 14th place. So he was dropping back earlier on, and that was a terrible line that the Dodgem took. So, but the Dodgem is on the harder tyre, so you expect them to have good grip. Maybe the FJR is just a fundamentally better car than the Dodgem, but anyway, this is 14th place. But the inside into Piratella, that's a risky one. It's still side by side almost, but the Dodgem just having enough momentum to stay ahead there, and Alonso setting the fastest lap. So, and he's taken 7/10 out of Kubica on that lap as well. So we may well have a battle for the lead soon, as Rosberg tries to find a way past Glock. Glock started down in 21st place, out-qualifying only his teammate. And up the inside is the last chicane. That's proved a popular overtaking spot for the FJRs. Rosberg up to 14th place as he starts another lap. Now Kubica and Alonso have pitted, and that was Rosberg taking a position from Yanni. It's up to 12th, and Senna pits. Only soft tyres for him, of course, because you're only allowed one compound. And let's not forget that each team owner can choose whether to have the softs or the hards for the weekend. A 10.7 second stop, so I'm expecting it to be a 2-stop race for Senna. And he's rejoined right in the path of Fernando Alonso, so Senna made up a lot of time on his in-laps. but Alonso retaking it straight away into the Tamburello. So we have Jenson Button leading now on lap 25, so definitely a heavier fuel load, but now he's in. Now let's keep an eye on how long this stop is, because there may be a chance he could go for a one stop. I doubt it, but let's see. 9.1, no, it's definitely a two stop for Jenson Button. So he's going to have a job trying to catch. Well, let's see where he comes out here. That is right in the path of a Dodgem. He's still in the lead. Jenson Button's still in the lead. So he's made his strategy work to perfection. And Robert Kubica getting held up there by the Dodgem. So it's a three-way battle for the lead now. Possibly four if Senna makes his next set of in-laps count. Because Kubica and Alonso definitely did pit first. And we got Rosberg challenging a Mitchell for 14th. So Rosberg providing quite a bit of action on the track. He's got another Mitchell in front of him as well. Into the last chicane, no. This is for 14th, so Rosberg has made a pit stop. And Pantano's dropped back during the pit stop sequences because he's now behind Vettel and Klein. So contrasting fortunes for the Tornadoes, and Rosberg into the Villeneuve chicane, and he's made that move stick. But Button, so far Button leads on lap 29 by 1.6 seconds from Kubica, who is 1.9 ahead of Alonso, who is 2.1 ahead of Senna, and that is Vettel out of the race. That is a loose wheel, I can see that from here. Front right wheel has come loose. So the world champion is out. Into the bits comes Jenson Button. Is he the first one to pit out of the front runners? Because that was a short stint. It was only about 16 or so laps stint. So the Tornado was obviously short fuel to try and get ahead of Kubica. And it worked, but let's see how this strategy unfolds. We may see a lead change, depending on the pace of the two cars in front, Kubica and Alonso. Rejoins ahead of Senna. Then Bourdais up to 8th place. Now we've got Rosberg challenging a Dark Wolf into the outer chicane. And look at that! The Dark Wolf goes in the air as there was contact, obviously. Kubica pits now. Has he done enough to try and get ahead of Jenson Button? Don't think Alonso's pitted, so he takes the lead now. 10-second stop for Kubica. Where will he rejoin? Third, behind Jenson Button. And Glock up the inside of a Dark Wolf, and another contact between a Dark Wolf at the outer chicane. So that's the Dodgem spun round, and he's in fact made that position because the Dark Wolf is stranded. Alonso's pitted. Where's he rejoined? It's an 8.3 second stop. Has he rejoined ahead of Kubica? And the answer I think is yes. Alonso is in second. But Kubica's got the momentum. And Alonso defended a little bit into the Tamburello just in case the momentum was too much. And Alonso running very wide as he tries to get them tyres up to temperature. I think he's done it so far, but Kubica is a fighter. He will not give up. Senna's still in fourth, looking for his fourth place in a row, but he has dropped 31.3 seconds behind Jenson Button now. And he'd better watch out for Christian Klein behind. And that's Jenson Button's engine's blown up! Jenson Button will not have 3 wins in a row! He's smoking like mad and he's slowing. That is heartbreaking for Tornado, so we will now see Fernando Alonso take the lead. There he goes. Alonso leads for FJR. You wouldn't have expected me to say that after the first race where they were well off the pace, and Button pulls off. So Tornado's points hopes now rest with Pantano, who will move up into 5th place ahead of Bourdais and Piquet. So the Mercedes were proving too hot to handle for Jenson Button. And Kimi Raikkonen has just retired as well, so both Pedersens out of the race. That doesn't matter on Alonso though, he's taken the win. FJR are back on top. Their first win since Rosberg's last season at Australia. So effectively over a season since they last won. Kubica comes home in 2nd. And 3rd place, I think, was Senna. Yes, it was. Klein couldn't catch him in the end. He takes 4th. There's Christian. Pantano 5th. Bourdais, more points for X-Elite. And Nelson Piquet, more points for Andy Racing. Glock takes Dodgem's first point of the season after us. That's a steady drive, good steady drive. And Rosberg disappointing down in 15th. So Jenson Button still leads, but now he's got Alonso bearing down his neck, only 4 points behind. Klein is up to 3rd in the championship, outpacing his teammate, which is quite surprising. Guy Racing move up to within no points of Tornado. They are tied, but Tornado has 2 wins. FJR move up to 3rd place ahead of Shannon now. The next race is a new one. It's Valencia, the Spanish Grand Prix returns. We'll see you then.